Nice. Hi, Brian. Okay. How are we doing? Good afternoon. Hi, Charlie.
Sorry, Brian. Do you want to just let us know when you're ready? But if we're going to take about the first 10 minutes live, for anybody who needs it, whoever's on the mic at the time, I'll let you know when that sort of 10 minutes is up. But we'll follow our usual process and we'll go next door for Davies. We'll go from there. We'll just wait for Brian.
That's 30 seconds.
Ready. Yeah, no problem. That's fine.
Thanks, Jules. Brendan, what's the latest team news, injury news ahead of this first leg semi-final?
Well, pretty much the same. We obviously Wes and Philippe got injured in our last game, so Wes will probably miss the next couple of games and start training back next week. Philippe was more precaution, really. He came off, so he'll be able to join us in training over the next couple of days.
Jamie Vardy's fine, isn't he?
Yes, Jamie's fine, yeah.
Given the strong season that you're having, how do you rate your chances of winning this competition?
We got to get to the final first. That's our objective. We know that we've got a tough game over 2 legs, and Aston Villa are a good side, good players that can hurt you. So for us, our focus is very much on getting to the final. Then, of course, when you get there, then it's a 50-50 chance. So, but like I say, it's the players have been brilliant up until this point. We've had away games every round of this tournament. So this is nice for us to have the first leg at home, and we want to go and hopefully create some sort of advantage to take to Villa Park.
Having beaten Aston Villa last month, how different are you expecting these semi-final ties against them?
Well, they are different. Of course, you gain confidence when you win and play well in any game, especially against one of the opponents. So, but they're different games. They're cup competitions. So, and you've just got to, as I said, stay very calm, but play the game with lots of emotion and really play how we've been playing for the season, really, which is look to impose our way, always respect the opposition and their qualities and their strengths, and like I say, we're playing at home first, so we would like to be able to take an advantage to the second leg.
From a personal point of view, Brendan, how do you reflect on that incredible unbeaten streak in domestic cup competitions? 30 games now.
Well, very proud, of course. It seems a long time ago, really, but no, I was very honoured and privileged to have won my first ever trophy with Celtic, with a group of players that I had, and to make it the 100th trophy in Celtic's history was truly special. So, and then we went on an incredible run where the players there were so focused, so intent in winning, and they suffered in that period as well. But we were always able to get through it, and so it was it was fantastic. And then we come to here, and with the same idea, with the same intent, look to win every game, and see where it can take us. So, and the players in the cup competition so far, they've been absolutely brilliant. And now we arrive into semi-final. Tough fixture, of course, but it will also be a tough fixture for Aston Villa, and our aim is simply to get to the final.
What's the secret? Any pre-match superstitions?
No, not really. I think it was important to stay calm. You know, there's always a tendency, I think, in whether it's semi-finals or finals, you don't need to magnify the importance of the games. You know, I think that's key. You don't want to add any more pressure or take away any more pressure. I think every game you go into, you go in with the intent to be aggressive, to play well and to win. So, same preparation for this game. Very calm, full of details. How can, we exploit any sort of weakness that Aston Villa may have, but also at the same time respect their qualities and look to protect the team against that. So, but yeah, just be very focused and go in with that ambition to be the very best that we can.
We will see VAR used in these semi-finals and the finals. Would you like to see the referees use the pitchside monitors? We saw it in the FA Cup at the weekend. Would you like to see that happen in these games?
There's lots of focus on that there. I think Michael did it at the weekend because he felt he needed to. Of course, the other referees that haven't done it, they've gained the assistance from the guys in the studio. So for me, VAR has worked well. You know, you look at the incidents at the weekend. I don't think Tranmere will be complaining about VAR. It worked really, really well for them, and there hasn't really been a lot of focus on that. It's been primarily when it hasn't gone so well. But I think over time it will become better. I think there's a lot of real positives about it, and the other areas that hasn't been quite so successful, I'm sure will be done over time. Now, whether that's the referee going to the side, or whether he stays on the field and gets the guidance from the studio, but I think overall it's worked well.
Does it bother you that it hasn't happened in the Premier League as a manager?
What's that?
The fact that they haven't gone to check the
No,
incidents
no,
themselves?
it doesn't me one bit, not at all. My attitude towards it is that some decisions will go for you, some will go against you, and I take it on that level. If you were asking me to have an opinion, I would have doubts about the referee going over to the side all the time because of the influence, where the camera would be positioned for the referee to come over and have a look. Is there an influence from supporters, from staff? So I would have my doubts around whether they would do that or not, to be honest.
We are a week into the transfer window.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remain confident James Maddison will stay here this month?
Yes.
We're told there's interest from Manchester United. What's your message to them?
No, there's no message. It's a month, and pre-January there's lots of speculation around lots of our players, which is great because they're talents, and it means they and the team are doing very, very well. But nobody will leave here in January, that's for sure. We want to add to the squad if we can. It's been a fantastic first part of the season for us. We've started the second well, so we want to continue with that rhythm and that continuity with the players, developing them, developing the team, and then see where we arrive at the end of the season. So yeah, there's no pressure to sell here, and there's no need for us to sell. So our idea is keep the squad together, and like I say, can we add to it rather than diminish the quality.
For the record, would you entertain any deal? Cash plus Jesse Lingard, for instance?
Well, listen, again, you're all talking speculation, so I don't talk about speculation and gossip. James is a very, very talented player, a wonderful player, and he will be here in January and beyond.
Can you tell us how talks are going over a potential new contract for him?
Yeah, no, I think it's just ongoing with the club. He's obviously a player that we're very keen to remain here and help us on this journey over these next numbers of years. So I think James and his representatives are speaking with the club, which is great. And these things take time. But in the meantime, you see his level hasn't dropped. His focus is very much on the game. He's playing his football to a really, really high level, and now he's been absolutely brilliant.
You're not anticipating any Harry Maguire style saga that we had in the summer?
No, not at all. No.
And just finally for me, in terms of incomings, I know you've been asked this before, but what now is your position in terms of whether or not we're likely to see you strengthen this squad?
Well, our idea is to strengthen it. Like we've always said, we obviously look at areas that we can improve, but again, it all goes down to availability. If we can, we will. If we don't, we've got, as we've shown in the first part of the season, we've got a really strong squad, and lots of them are young players that are evolving and developing as the season goes. So we want to, but if we can't, then we'll continue with the squad that we have, and then look to reinforce in the summer.
Harry Wilson, someone that you'd know, someone that would interest you here?
I know Harry very well. He's a fantastic talent, but like I say, I don't speculate or gossip on any other players, especially other players from other teams.
Thought I'd try. Thanks, Brendan.
Of course.
Rob's just behind you, Brian.
Hi, Brendan.
Hi.
Just picking up on the point you made there about how happy you've been with the squad and and how every member's kind of helped you in the early part of this season. How much has this League Cup really displayed that for you, that you've rotated a number of times and yet the performances have been so consistent?
Yeah, I think that hopefully the players have, they've taken the trust that I have in them, because our goals at the beginning of the season was to obviously do as well as we possibly could in every competition. We didn't rank any in terms of priority. We wanted to arrive into all the competitions and do our very, very best that we possibly could in them. So that means that you have to use your squad. But how we work, we would like to think that whenever we do make changes, we're very systematic in our approach. So when one player comes out, another comes in. He understands the role, he understands the style, and hopefully you don't see too big a difference. And for the players that haven't played so much, and especially this last period, they've been absolutely amazing. One, mentally, because it's a really tough period in terms of preparation and physicality. They've been very focused, they prepared themselves well, and then they've been able to bring into the games. If you look at our league games, the changes we've made, the guys have come in with the right intensity, right attitude, and brought a great energy to the team. So yeah, I think they've found the trust that we've given them to go in and do the job, and of course that helps you in every game that you go into, that you can make changes comfortably.
Rob, that's 10 minutes, folks, so it's recorded from here, okay? Thank you. Rob, carry on, please.
No worries. How much notice do you or can you give the players that that's a game that you will play in? That's maybe a game that you'll rest, when you are juggling the cup and league competitions. As I say, you've played a number of different players in the cup competitions, and then there was a few more, I guess, first team regulars came back in for the Everton game. So how in advance can you warn players or tee players up for a game?
Yeah, well, you can. I think the idea is to look to plan forward, and we'd said it at the beginning of December with the players that, listen, with the schedule and where we're at, this will be the plan, this will be the strategy. So you got to maintain this suffering and training and the hard work, because you'll need it when you go into these games. So yeah, we try to prepare the players generally that this would be the case, and then obviously you'd speak to certain individual players and say, listen, you may not be playing in this one, but you got to be ready for that one in 2 games, because you'll be playing in that. And some players need that more than others. They need to have a view going forward of where they're going to contribute. So yeah. So even in the preparation for the Liverpool game, the week leading into that, we had the team ready and set that was going to play against West Ham, working together and preparing them for that.
It was 1999, 2000, I think, when Villa and Leicester came together in the League Cup semi-final over 2 legs, Leicester prevailing and obviously going on to win the competition. Do you have any memories of that time?
No, not really. I knew around about that time, roughly, obviously, when Martin was here, the record that they had, obviously they got through in that and then went on to beat Tranmere, I think it was, in the finals. So, and they were notorious in that time for doing really well in the cup competition. So, and that's our idea here. It's a new history we're trying to create, and 2 games, 2 really important games for us. And like I say, the main objective is to get to the final, and then that will excite us all. So that's our ambition.
Thank you.
Hi, Brendan.
Hi, Ian.
Just for clarification on Jamie Vardy's fitness, is he 100%? Is he in contention for a place tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fine to play. He just was unfortunate. He missed the game at the weekend, but he trained on Sunday and since that, so he's absolutely fine.
We know that there were 2 injuries in the centre half position, and something I neglected to ask you post match the other day was about Daniel Amartey. Is he fit and available, and actually is he a centre half possibility for you? I know he's played there before. Is that something that you're considering?
Yes, something that we've seen Daniel play there when he's come back from injury, but unfortunately he's not available for this game. So he's had a slight knock on his ankle. So of course he hasn't been involved so much. And it's been tough because he's trained ever so well. The team's done ever so well, but he hasn't been able to feature. So, but yeah, he wouldn't be up for consideration at this point in time. But like I said, Philippe Benkovic will be fine, and Wes will be in training next week, start next week. So both those aren't going to be as long term as maybe what was first thought.
Has that maybe calmed any necessity to get into the market for a central defender?
Well, yeah, it certainly helps. I think there's no way you want to be thinking that you've only got 2 centre halves, that's for sure, because then the need then becomes obviously greater, of course, because you cannot do it, especially when you're challenging in all competitions. So, but yeah, so both those boys not being long term is good for us, but it still keeps our focus on what it is we want to actually do in the market.
Is centre half your priority in the market?
Well, we have a few positions that what we would like to improve, and that would be one of them.
Has Andy King has he come back from his loan at Rangers, Brendan?
Yeah. So Andy's went to there, and I think he had a good chat with Stephen when they were there. I think he'd enjoyed his time, but of course didn't play as much as he would have liked. So I think between all parties, it was in the best interest for Andy to come back, and then obviously see if he can then get a club for the second part of the season, because it's been difficult for him. He's been injured a little bit, but he's been fit now for a little while. But of course, he'll want the game fitness to match that sort of fitness from training. So yes, he's back in training now with us, with a view to getting a loan period out again.
You've been asked a few questions on the transfer market. It's the nature of the business, Brendan. You understand that.
Yeah.
I'd wonder how the mechanics work, because you know that there's speculation and there's talk of your players, which you've said you're welcome because it means they're playing well. But how do you separate all of that from the players and with the people above you, kind of the senior management of the club? Are you in regular contact with John Rudkin, for example, and you know what is rubbish and you know what bids have or may be coming? How much more work does that take in these transfer windows for you?
Well, of course, there's a preparation phase that leads into the January window, where people will be doing the work to create stories and whatnot to get it out there. But thankfully, like you say, I've close communication here with John and with Susan in terms of actual bids that may come in. So we're pretty transparent in all of that there. So to dissect it and differentiate it is fairly easy. You know, it's the nature of the business, like you say, and it's how the game works. It's based around gossip and speculation. So my experience tells me you just focus on the players you have. You know if there's anything real that comes in. We have good communication here, and anything after that doesn't really bother me really.
Have you had to have any of those real conversations as yet with any bids that have come in?
No, not at all.
Is being at home in a two-legged affair in the semi-final an advantage, Brendan, or does it make any difference whatsoever?
Yeah, listen, it can work either way. I think in my experiences of having these types of games and these types of occasions, it can actually help you being away in the second leg. Because, like I say, pressure can come in the second leg. So for me, when we were drawn at home first, I was happy. It won't be won in the first leg, that's for sure. But you got a really good opportunity with your own support behind you and everything that comes with playing at home to create an advantage. If you don't get an advantage, it's still okay. You go into the second leg, and especially having been there before already this season, the confidence that we know we can win there. So, but Dean's team will be very hungry to get through as well, like we are. And over the two legs, the best team will go through, and we hope that to be us.
You've said it's not won in the first leg, but you've talked a lot this season about ruthlessness, and you've talked a lot about when your teams have an advantage to try and press that advantage. How could that help you in the first leg tomorrow night?
Yeah, we just have to go and play our game. We have to go and play with that intent and that aggression and that hunger. If you're going to get to a final as well, you have to suffer. So there are going to be periods over the two games where we have to suffer in the games. But this team have shown over the course of this season, and that's why, the mentality doesn't change. We've shown that we can suffer, we can keep clean sheets, we can score goals, we can play fast, dynamic football, we can play counter-attack football, and we want to be able to bring all of that into the games to get us to the final.
Finally, I know how important supporters are for you, and the history of a football club as well. You've mentioned the heritage in the 90s in this competition, and the Foxes were at Wembley quite a lot with playoffs and then ultimately the League Cup. Is that something you've tried to embrace and research and get into to get that feel for how important this competition historically has been for the club?
Yeah, I think it's always nice to know the history of a club and the great history here to Leicester City. And I was reminded before the quarterfinals that we'd lost in the 10. So and I'm also aware that the club hasn't been to a final for 20 years. So let's get there then. Let's not be worried too much about the past and everything else. Just really try and create this new history. And but we know we're going to have to play well to get there. Thank you.
Just take a couple from Charlie, and then we'll go next door to Davies.
Yeah.
Hi, Brendan.
Hi.
Just to pick up on a little bit of what Ian was saying there, what would a domestic trophy do to kind of put the icing on the cake of this purple patch that the football club is going through under your charge?
No, I think it's always nice if you have something tangible to show for progress. I think the players up until this point would be amazing, and so if you can do that, it would be great. It's not you can still do some great work as a team and as a club and not win, but our ambition is to win, and the appetite is to win, and have that continuous mentality that you want to win every game, and that's something that we've tried to sell to the players since we've came in. And that starts from your preparation. It doesn't just start on game day. It's how you prepare in your training, how you do your work as coaches and staff. You then spill that out to the players, and then they have to work, and then when you have that connection and synergy together, you hopefully you can go and win. So the competition is very, very strong, of course, but if you can, then it's obviously something that's great. But any team that wins anything, you've got to move on to the next focus and the next target.
Your remarkable record of 30 straight domestic cup ties without defeat has already been mentioned, but the last time that a team did manage to get the better of you, it was Aston Villa, funnily enough. I wondered if that was something you were aware of and you remember and are out for revenge, but not that strong.
I was aware of it because we didn't play well on the day at all at Wembley. So, but it's different. It's a different competition. It's a different set of players, different dynamic. But I certainly remember it.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, folks. We'll go next door for the dailies. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Right. Sorry, I didn't give you that.